This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Apparition Scents, an outdoor and sporting goods company based in Dilliner, Pennsylvania. All of their scents developed and hand bottled with strict attention being paid to every detail. Contact them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionscents.com. 100% lethal or your money back guaranteed. Get a hold of them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionscents.com. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Tonight we have Stephen Miller of Arizona Listing Media. He is the owner of that company, and he is also the marketing manager and media manager for the Lazy CK Ranch, which is an 8,000-acre ranch in Kerrville, Texas, about an hour and a half from San Antonio, Texas. And Stephen, you're from Black Canyon City, Arizona, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in Black Canyon City and kind of cut my teeth in the outdoors, hiking and adventuring and stuff. And I'm actually living in Surprise now, so been here about 6 years. So kind of just making my way around the state.
Awesome. Well, I hope you're doing good this evening. We also have Dave Young and Dan Hall here with me this evening, both co-hosts. So how's everybody doing?
Awesome. Good to be on here with you guys.
Doing great, guys. Pleasure being here tonight.
So, Stephen, just tell us a little bit about the Lazy CK Ranch there in Texas.
Sure. So it's a 8,000-acre ranch just outside of Kerrville. It's technically in Mountain Home, but it's that beautiful Texas hill country kind of terrain there. It's a lot of, like shrub oaks and cedar and stuff like that. It gets pretty thick and nasty in some places, but it's really beautiful. It's got a lot of rich history. You can walk around and find a handful of arrowheads in like 10 minutes and get some pretty cool stuff. But they've got a wide variety of animals there. I mean, you've got, of course, your native whitetail. Texas is so rich in whitetail. They're everywhere. They're like rats out there. But, I mean, they've got exotics. They've got some, axis and nilgai and all that stuff that you're kind of seeing more popularized.
Looking at your site, you guys have quite a few exotics that you offer.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep track as to how many they hold, but I mean, good grief, there's well over like 25 different species. I mean, Dama gazelle, there's different types of like cyca deer, Japanese, Dabowski. They've got, of course, axis and nilgai, and they've even got, bison. I just shot a buffalo out there in February, so I got to do a hunt.
Oh, wow. I bet you that was an amazing hunt.
Your main lodging. I see you guys, looks like you guys have a couple different places you lodge people and guests when they're there.
Yeah, so there's what we call like the main headquarters, which is kind of the more upscale part of the ranch. And then there's like a pool, there's a game room, there's several different cabins there. There's an outdoor pavilion area. They got horseshoes and archery range. They got a 5-acre bass pond with some phenomenal Texas bass fishing. You name it, there's just about everything you could think of to do. They've got a 5-stand wobble trap, skeet shooting. You name it, a 600-yard rifle range. So it's kind of the grown-up play yard for big kids. But then they got, of course, hunting stands that were just a phenomenal hunting experience that was set up and helped created by some African PHs that came in and stuff, and just kind of made sure it was top notch as far as like bow blinds and everything. All their bow blinds are custom built. They're these cool panel blinds that are they're very spacious inside. We've got some guys that are guides that are like 6'5", and we can fit 2 or 3 of us in there. I'll often be in there with a camera filming and stuff, and we've got little cutout holes for a camera to go through for the lens and everything and stuff, and plenty of shot opportunity. As far as a bow, you'll have 2 or 3 shooting windows and shooting lanes cut out for you. So, and then the average rifle blind's probably about 100 yards. So it just depends kind of what style you're looking to do, but you can always get out and spot and stock as well if you want, which is what I prefer. That's what I did for my buffalo. So it's a lot of fun. It's a cool place.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks beautiful just looking at it. So it's an all inclusive then. You get the lodging, you get the personal chef for you basically, and you get all your meals cooked for you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. There is a separate part of the ranch called the Area 39. It's a set of cabins that can house about 10 people. And in the summertime, it's actually an Airbnb, which is really cool. Families want to get away and just go stay somewhere. You can rent it out in the summer as an Airbnb, or I think that shuts off in about September, a little bit before September. And then that from September through the rest of the year, it becomes basically like the meat hunters cabins area. You can do like meat hunts out of there, management hunts, and that place is just as awesome. I mean, that's where we stayed for like my buffalo hunt and stuff. I ended up throwing a personal bow hunting camp just from some followers that were here in Arizona that wanted to hunt with me, and I wanted to avoid blowing up some of my personal spots here in Arizona. So I was like, well, hey, meet me out in Texas and we'll all go hunt together and have a 4-day camp. And so it worked out really well. We went out there and shot a bunch of whitetail does and then added a few exotics. I think one guy shot a scimitar oryx, and another friend of mine shot a buffalo, and then I shot a buffalo. So it's really cool. It's a good spot, and you got some options out there.
Wow, that's awesome. So, man, I mean, you're involved in all kinds of stuff. You're not just the marketing manager and the media manager for the ranch, but you're an avid outdoorsman. You're a hiker. You do all kinds of outdoor stuff. So fill us in on a little bit how you got into the outdoor activities and just outdoors in general.
Sure. So let's see. It was probably about, man, I'm trying to think of what year. As a youth, as a young kid, probably 11 or 12, I remember an after church program. I grew up in church. My family's always been church attendants and stuff. And so I remember an after church youth program started of a gentleman named Ken Sloan up in Black Canyon City. He would take the kids after church and teach them how to shoot archery. And his wife was actually an Olympic archer, and he owned an archery shop. And so he would take all these kids after church and just spend time with them and coach them. And he really took me under his wing. He took a big liking to me. And he had me start out on trad bow. He wouldn't even let me touch a compound until I understood the fundamentals of archery and how a bow works and everything. And then he gave me my first compound, which was his old compound, taught me how to shoot that. He started me on a thumb release. And he took me on my first hunt. We didn't even see a deer, but he at least got me out there. He had me go buy my tag and my license and all that stuff. And he ended up passing away. And when he passed away, I kind of fell away from archery for a little while. I went through high school, junior high school, got into girls and all that stuff. And fast forward to like 2017, I'm just browsing YouTube, watching videos and stuff. And a Cam Hanes video pops up. And I see this guy that's like a stud on the mountain, right, doing this archery thing and all that, and hunting Western, which is where we're located. And I was like, oh man, oh yeah, I miss archery. Like yeah. I told my wife, I was like, I want to get a bow and get back into it. And later on, she was like, I knew you were like wanted to get a bow and shoot. She's like, I didn't think you were going to get as serious with it as you've become. So she's like, I thought you were just going to shoot it once in a while and that'd be the end of it. But it took off way more than we ever thought it would. I kind of started an Instagram channel just to kind of log my journey and stuff, like, hey, this is what I've been doing. I failed on my hunt or succeeded on this. And it turned into quite a big following. I had a pretty cool logo made for it, and that turned into the whole bow hunting AZ thing. And it just took off from there. And next thing I know, I'm doing some films because I already work in the media industry, and filming my own hunts and filming my buddies' hunts and just kind of making a story out of it. And a good buddy of mine that hunts with me, he grew up in the outdoors. His dad took him hunting when he was like 5 years old. And then you have my story where my dad's not a hunter, but he's, a hiker, and he likes to be outside and stuff. And so it was kind of like, here's an adult hunter that got into it, at the age of, I killed my first buck right here just a few days before I turned 30. And just kind of going through the journey of how I got into that and everything. And through one door opening to another, I found myself working for this ranch, and I've been really blessed. I've definitely been really blessed in this whole thing.
Man, that's awesome. So you're talking about the Cameron Hines, the keep hammering guy, the outdoorsman, athlete, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Man, I've been following him for a long time. Did he do UFC, or did he have some kind of affiliation with UFC at some point in time?
So he's good friends with Joe Rogan, the commentator, like the number one commentator for the UFC and everything, kind of the host of the UFC. And he's good friends with Joe Rogan, so he's often there. He usually gets ringside seats and all that stuff, and he's pretty avid follower of the sport and everything.
Man, that'd be nice.
That would be pretty cool.
I've never spoke with him, but I've followed his page for a long time. Seems like a great guy. Like I said, avid outdoorsman. He's really into fitness and things like that, and it's pretty cool with some of the things that he's done and some of the animals that he's harvested. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of like one of those guys that really falls hardcore into like the motivational stuff. So when I see other guys that are like that, I might not necessarily be on his level for sure. I'm not running a marathon a day like he is or anything. I hate running, but I mean, I'm down to go, lift weights and work out and do that kind of stuff. And then just the motivational aspect of the hunting and everything, I like it a lot. So that's why I really fell into hunting so much. I think it really taught me a lot about myself. And I always kind of gravitated towards that stuff where it was like, me against myself or like me against the mountain. I like that a lot, and being able to go out there, and I feel like every time I go out and come back, I've learned something new about myself, or I've discovered a new level that I've like been able to break through, because I didn't know that, my mindset, if it was put in the right place, could get me to where I wanted to go. I always thought, I'm going to tire out, or I'm going to quit, or it's going to hurt too much or whatever. And each time I find myself breaking through new barriers. And I've kind of found that to break through in different areas of my life just outside of hunting. And so it's really gravitated me towards it even more.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely use that in all aspects of life. I think some of the first videos that I ever started watching of him was just, he would jog, or he would, do marathons through the woods or wherever. And he would videotape himself while he was running.
Yep. Yeah, he's nuts. Like he really does do a marathon every day. It's crazy. He runs a very specific mountain. I can't remember what it's called, but that's wild, man. That's not for me. I'm not a running guy.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not running unless something's chasing me.
Right? It better be a mountain lion or something behind me there.
Yeah, that's funny. Gosh. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I was looking at a message. Sorry.
So yeah, you're into the drone world. What kind of drone you running there? And have you gone through and got all your FAA regulated credentials for that?
Yeah. I think that I believe the license came out in 2016. I remember going to do a long weekend in San Diego, California. There's a group of guys that wanted to be the first to kind of hit the ground running for the drone 107 pilot's license that was coming out through the FAA. So I went and did like a long 3 or 4 day weekend over in California there. Just stayed at a hotel, had a conference room. We kind of grounded out and just learned everything we needed to from like the FAA FAR AIM and stuff like that, just to learn the regulations, make sure we knew our stuff. And I went and took it the opening morning that it was offered at a CAT center, and I passed it in 20 minutes. And the lady was like, "You're the first drone pilot in Arizona." I was like, "Oh, sweet." So that was kind of cool. I've been flying.
Oh, wow.
Been flying ever since. I probably fly every single day. I mean, my main gig is real estate photography. I started that in 2013. Just did it as a side hustle. I worked at a corporate job I was a drug compounding technician for a pharmacy, and just worked that full time and held this like little side hustle, which ended up going full time. And I quit my job at the pharmacy, and I've been self-employed ever since. So drones has been a big part of it for sure. Obviously, as I got into the hunting stuff, when you're going to make like a film, if you're wanting to do any sort of like cinematic reveals or anything like that, you're constantly grabbing some B-roll footage, big mountains and stuff. I've done some commercials for some outdoor camo companies and stuff. And we've had, a guy climbing a mountain ridge with a rack on his pack and everything and stuff. And you're flying over him with a drone just to show this big outlying landscape and stuff. And so they're pretty cool. They definitely have a place, and it's fun too, on top of all that. So
yeah, absolutely. What kind are you using? I know I've been talking to a lot of guys that DJI's become really, really popular.
Yep. So I've got the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. I've heard really great things about the newer Mavic 3, but I've heard that the user experience for the app is a little kind of wonky. They've got some kinks to kind of work out. So I had a buddy that had one right out of the gate, and he was kind of like, hold off on purchasing this. Don't upgrade right away. Let them work a few bugs out first. So maybe they've fixed that since then. I don't know, but my 2 Pro is still working just fine. It does 4K video and all that, so I haven't seen a reason to change.
Nice. So what do you use as your platform or your viewing device?
Are you talking about like for consuming content or for editing the video?
Does it have its own controller, or do you use your iPad to kind of view the screen and things like that for your aerials?
Sure. Yeah. So now they do offer a built-in screen controller model for DJI, but I have the one where you just plug your phone into it, and I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's the little bigger iPhone series, so I bought that one specifically so I could use it for the drone and stuff, and so it works just fine. I can see plenty good on it, and then that way I can just plug it in real quick, pull it off, do my flight and stuff, and then fold up the controller, and it gets compact. The controller folds up, you can throw it away. I've even had it in my hunting pack before. Sometimes when we'll go way back in there and we're doing certain, scenes or a reveal or something cinematic and epic for a film, it's pretty cool. The drone will fold up and fit right in your pack.
Have you got to try that new Avata, or however you say that, DJI come out with the headset and the joystick controller? I've played with that one just here recently, man. That thing is slick.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I haven't tried that one. A good buddy of mine who comes out with me all the time, he's really into drones, and he does have their FPV version, and he got the goggle headset and stuff. And he brought it out with us once. We had finished a hunt, but we were still out there for like another day and a half. So he was just toying around with it, and we were sitting on top of this mountain, and he was just zooming around. That thing will go like 100 miles an hour, man. They're fast, the FPV ones. And so he's just zipping around, and I'm sitting there with the goggles on, and you're like, feel like you're on a roller coaster. It's pretty cool. They're a lot of fun to play with. But
yeah.
You'd be flying right through the pine trees and everything.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting in the cockpit of a jet, man. It's intense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're a ton of fun. And it's funny to watch people too. If you're the one that isn't wearing the goggles and you put it on someone and you see them standing there and they're just kind of doing this because it makes you think you're whirling around all crazy and stuff. So you'll see people wobble.
Man, this is the crazy story. So we were at the beach, and these guys were out there, and I surf fish at the beach when we go. And I seen they had this big case and all this stuff set out, and they were getting ready to start drone fishing, with their drone. And you know how you can take it out so far, and you can just kind of like tip it forward, and it'll drop the bait off of it at a certain distance. So they were, they had went, half a mile out, and everything was fine. They dropped their bait and stuff like that. And I just, I was sitting there, and I was fishing, and just kept, talking to them and stuff. And there was this, they had brought it back in, and then they started putting more bait on it or something, and they were going to try a mile. They wanted to go out and try a mile, and I'm like, wow, that's going to be crazy, because that thing gets a mile out there, you're not even going to be able to see this thing. So supposedly, if they lose their point or whatever it is, their GPS point, or they lose their satellite or something, they'll come right back to wherever they took off from. So I'm thinking, well, this would be kind of cool. So we're sitting there, and I'm watching this guy take this thing out, and he's going out a mile into the water, and I'm like, I can't even see that thing anymore, dude. And he was like, yep. He was like, I've lost it too. He was like, I can't see it. He kind of he lost it. It lost connection with his iPad that he was using. So that's why I was asking you, what you use. And these guys had been in it for a while, but not too long. I mean, you got a $4,000 drone that just lost connection a mile out into the ocean. So, I start, we was standing there and we was talking, and he started putting up his stuff, and he was like, I guess we'll just have to get us another one. He was like, we've lost that one. So I'm walking back, to my fishing rod, and these guys are walking up to the hotel, and all of a sudden you hear bang, crash, and like windows and glass and stuff breaking. This thing had came back full force and crashed right into the hotel right there at the beach. You know, he's like, oh my gosh. He was like, what was that? And I'm like, dude, I think that was your drone. So we go over there and look, and this thing is in thousands of pieces laying there on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They'll log a GPS waypoint when they're on the ground. So before they take off, they'll put that waypoint right there in their log, and then that way, if you lose sight or if I want it to return home at any point, I've just got a return to home button I can hit, and it'll land right where it took off from.
Yeah.
You can change some settings, like when it returns home, you can set how high you want it to fly on the way back, just in case there's any obstacles, which might have been handy there in that situation. But yeah, you can. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. It knows where it's at all times.
Well, you know, like I said, they were kind of new at it, so I don't think that they knew that. They knew it had that feature, but I don't think that they knew that they could set a point for it. And it was just crazy. I was like, the guy wasn't even upset about it either. He was like, well, I guess we'll just have to buy another one. I was like, geez, man. So.
Yeah, we're bound to crash one at some point. So.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the main things that we wanted to get into tonight is, of course, we wanted to get your background and stuff like that, and how long you've been in outdoors and just your journey and stuff. But one of the things that the Lazy CK Ranch does is the Future Hunting or Future Hunters Summit that we were talking about the other night.
Yep. Yeah, the Future Hunters Summit. That's right.
So that primarily promotes youth and just getting people in the outdoors that usually don't have the chance to get on a hunt, or somebody that hasn't been raised in the outdoor or the hunting industry or within, you know, the hunting tradition. So tell us a little bit about that and how that's going. It seems like that's really kicking off well.
Yeah, it's been a wildly successful program. We have 3 weeks throughout the year that we do. We're actually trying to break away even a little bit from some of the just being specifically youth. So we want anybody. We have a couple weeks that are kind of catered towards, let's see, the first week is industry week. So that's going to be anybody that is in the hunting industry that hasn't ever hunted. You'd be surprised how many of these companies, you know, like Loophole or, Vortex, or maybe even Matthews, they have people that are in their companies that have never hunted. And we kind of found out about this just through partnering with different companies that came and sponsored our Future Hunter Summit. Last time at the industry week, we had a couple people from Savage that came out and hunted. So it's been really great. It's been fun to get these people that have been in the hunting industry, but have still never hunted themselves. And so they come out and we put them through the 6-day course, and they come out, they could do a solo hunt by the end of the 6-day course. That's our goal. We have an open week, which is just for anybody and everybody. I just attended that one this last July. That was really cool. We had, a dentist from San Antonio. We had a couple tech guys that were from just outside of Austin that had never even really touched a gun before. We had some kids that had killed a few does and stuff, and they just wanted, their dads just wanted them to have like a proper education on hunting and stuff. And then we did have some people that literally had never even touched a rifle, never even killed an animal, like had zero introduction to hunting. And by the end of the 6-day course, they had killed their first animal, they had gutted it, they'd skinned it, they get their hunter's education, they learn hunting ethics, they learn absolutely everything. Even our chef at the ranch cooks wild game with them, right next to them. They're all cutting it up themselves. They get a meat processing class from a processor that we partner with and stuff. And so it's really cool. It teaches you everything. Our goal at the end of it is that you could literally like go to Idaho, buy a tag, and do it yourself on your own hunt without any help. So it's been a really cool program to watch. And then lastly, we do have a women's week. So we really want to be able to offer the girls just their own week in a pressure-free environment. And that one's been wildly successful too. We've had a really good time with that. So it's been really cool. It's something cool because I was like I said, I grew up like that, right? My dad wasn't a hunter. I didn't have anybody to teach me. When I shot this little buck on the wall right here behind me, I had to FaceTime a buddy and put my phone up on a cactus and be like, what am I doing, man? Like, I wish I had a program like this. And so it was really cool to see something come to fruition that offers that.
Do they also go through any like survival skills or anything like that while they're teaching?
Yeah. So we do like a packing list. We'll have them kind of create their own packing list through the class. And then on top of that, we're also going to add some first aid basics as well. Just in case you are going out in a backcountry hunt solo or something, we want you to be a little prepared. We want you to have some sort of med kit. And we have one of the guides at the ranch there is like a hardcore backcountry hunter. I mean, he goes out to Colorado, kills a bull every year. He's out in Wyoming doing antelope stuff. Yeah, he's all over the place. He just killed a stud, like almost 200-inch mule deer buck above tree line. But he's there teaching that knowledge to all those people that come there and stuff. And so my job is just to come to these camps and kind of hang out and capture it on film. So it's pretty cool.
That's excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been really successful. It's been awesome to see people of all different walks of life. I mean, you've got every age there, boys, girls, the whole nine. It's cool to see all these different people, from like the tech guys that are like, dude, I just want to get my own meat and know where it comes from, to the dentist that just wants to get out of the office and go hunt or whatever, and then you've got the kids that think they might know a thing or two because they've killed a couple does, and then we interview them at the end and they're like, oh geez, like I didn't even know about this. Everybody walked away with some knowledge, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome that, there's that many people in that setting getting, that knowledge and stuff passed down to them. So, well, one of the things that we like to do in our podcast is we like to do our verse of the day. So I think Dave has that ready to go.
Yes, sir. Today's verse of the day is out of Ephesians. It's chapter 6, verse 10. And I'll be reading out of the Passion Translation. And, you were talking earlier, about just living life and you said something about, you're into the motivational thing and into working out and things like that, and just really living an active life. And anyway, what he says here, he says, my beloved ones, I have saved these most important truths for last. Be supernaturally infused with strength through your life union with the Lord Jesus. Stand victorious with the force of his explosive power flowing in and through you. I just think that translation of that verse is amazing. But, God wants us to be filled with strength. He wants us to be filled with power, especially in today. We talk about, the signs of the times. We talk about that a lot, just the way the world's going. It's not heading in the way of God. It's heading down a dark path. And, we as children of God, we need to shine brighter as lights, and we will, as it gets darker, we're going to shine brighter. But I think it's awesome when he says, man, stand victorious with the force of his explosive power flowing in you. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. Lately, a big thing has just been leaning more into Christ, right? When I go like for a workout, for instance,
Absolutely.
like I'm taking that pre-workout so I can get that explosive power, so I can get a rush of energy and stuff and lift harder and everything. And likewise in life, the scripture and like our church community, our prayer life, that should all be the pre-workout to our spiritual life. 100%. We should be using that to charge ourselves in every single day, whether it's, me as a father spiritually leading my family, as a husband leading my wife, or as a man at church helping lead the way for, the congregation and stuff. We're supposed to be an example of Christ every single day. So yeah, you get that spiritual pre-workout going, man.
Wow, that is well said, man. That's great. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's great.
I was sitting there thinking, talking about how you guys do that at the Lazy CK Ranch. Even as a veteran hunter, I'm sure there's a lot of people that still pick up some useful tidbits, and they all walk away with something. Like you were saying, everybody walks away with some new form of knowledge because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. A few of the dads even that were, tenured hunters that had been there, bringing their sons, they get to sit at the back of the class, and a couple of the dads, he was a retired police detective, and he was like, well, I didn't know this. And, he was like, even they were hearing stuff at the back of the room, picking up on things that they had never learned. And, he's probably been hunting 30, 20, however many years. And it was kind of cool to see everybody just grab a piece of knowledge, whether it was like one sentence or whether it was a couple different things that they ended up walking away with.
Yeah, sure.
So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about your hunting season so far. You have hunted a lot of different things here recently, and one of the things that you recently killed was a Coues whitetail deer. It's a western whitetail harvest that you had there. How'd that hunt go?
Yeah, I was sitting on a pile of bonus points. So we've got the lotto system here in Arizona for our draw. You get more preference points the more you collect and don't get drawn. You get a preference point every year. You get one for your hunter's ed. You get one for loyalty for every year you apply for a species. Eventually, you accrue a loyalty point for that. So I was sitting on a pile of those, and a buddy of mine has Go Hunt. So I plugged in my bonus points on his Go Hunt account and found I had a 100% draw rate for a couple hunts. So it was just like, all right, what unit do I want to hunt?
Awesome.
Found a unit that I kind of knew and decided I had seen some really big mule deer in there, usually around December. So our rut for deer here in Arizona is about the end of December, beginning of January. So I was like, all right, well, this is an October hunt, but I should probably still be able to find that buck. I knew there was a giant 4x4 mule deer buck in there. And so I had it set in my mind that that's what I was going to go out and do. Got drawn, got the tag. The hunt time came around, went out for the first like 3 or 4 days and just saw nothing, absolutely nothing. And so we kind of went home with our tail between our legs, and we had seen some does and saw like one spike Coues buck, but I really wasn't super interested in a Coues. I had already shot 2 of them. So I had to go home to work for a couple days and was just really down. I remember the last day leaving, I told my buddy, I was like, dude, I just want to go home. I don't even really want to hunt anymore. Like it was that bad. And
oh, wow.
And so I was like, well, I was like, all right, I got a few days left. I finished my work duties and stuff and decided to go back out for one last stint. Went back out that morning, got out to my spot even a little bit late, got there about 8:00. And just for the social media stuff that I do on Bow Hunting AZ, I just took like an obligatory gear on the tailgate photo or whatever. And that was at 8:00. So I'm walking to my glass and spot, and there was a really big coyote on this flat where my glassing spot is. And he's probably got to be like a 50 or 60 pound dog. He's real big. And so I was like, you know what, just in case he pops up again, I'm going to rack around and be ready for him in case I see him again, because I'd love to smoke this coyote. And as soon as I did that, I left to my right at about 3:00, and there's a Coues deer buck just standing there. I thought 75 yards or so. I ended up rearranging it later, and it was 37 yards. I could have shot him with my bow. But he was just sitting there staring at me, and he was big enough I could see his rack right away and stuff. And I was like, oh, dude, he's dead. So I just, acquired the target real quick, put it right in that armpit and shot. And that was pretty much the end of it. It freaked me out at first because it was so close. I don't know if that bullet really had time to expand, because when I went over there was blood at the impact site. But when I went to start trailing him, no blood trail. There was absolutely no blood at all. So I was like, starting to wonder. I was like, did I miss? Was I so close that it shot high or low or something weird? Because it was such a 200 yard zero. I wasn't really sure what happened. So I started freaking out. Took a minute, called my wife, just let her know I shot a deer, called my best friend, let him know I shot a buck, and I was going to start searching. So I just started walking that grid pattern, and just turned on my Onyx tracking and just started walking that grid. And sure enough, he didn't even go 100 yards and he was dead. So yeah, it was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. It was amazing. The shot. So that photo, the gear photo, was at 8 a.m. And by the time I took a photo of just the shell on the ground after I, unchambered the gun or whatever, it was 8:20. So in 20 minutes, an entire hunt literally turned around 100% and was tagged out. Man. So that taught me something else too, was just like, man, don't get so down on yourself. It takes one encounter to change a hunt like that. It's like, this whole time we were thinking we're not going to see anything, we're not going to tag out. And it just kind of helped reinforce in my mind to keep some of that negativity away next time when I think it's going to be hard. So,
yeah, it can seem like a lifetime, but it can happen in an instant, really fast. So you was talking about no blood trail or anything. Was that a complete pass through?
I'm thinking what happened is that that was so close that bullet didn't get a chance to mushroom, just because it was a 37-yard shot with a rifle. It just blew through him. It was very strange.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
not really sure what happened totally, but yeah, it fully passed through. And when I walked up and took a picture, I sent a picture to my buddy of where I shot him. I mean, I hit Pump City, like it was money. So I don't know what happened, if the bullet they've got those new tips on them and everything, if it just didn't mushroom enough or what. But
yeah. So another thing we like to do on our podcasts here, we'd like to do the salute to valor. Tonight we're gonna salute Roger Sire from I'm a butcher this, but he's from Madawaska, Maine. He was in the U.S. Army. He was a sergeant. He served for 12 years at Fort Hood. He did 3 tours of duty to Iraq and 1 rotation to South Korea. He was awarded the Army Accommodation Medal 4 times, Army Achievement Medal 6 times, Good Conduct Medal 4 times, Global War Expeditionary Medal 3 times, a Global War on Terrorism Medal, and Iraq Campaign Medal 4 times. He ended his service in February of 2012. We just want to thank him for his service and everything that he's done for our country.
yes, thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your service, sir. Dan, you did better with that name than I did. I had to re-record it one night on the podcast for his brother because I butchered the name of wherever that is in Maine.
Yeah, I thought you did well.
That's a name there. That's a heck of a name for a town.
But yeah, that's one of the things that we want to do on our podcast every time we do a podcast, because, if it wasn't for them out there fighting for our freedoms, we couldn't enjoy the outdoors and do the things that we do today. So we're very thankful for all of our active and non-active service members.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your service, man. I appreciate you. We're able to do this because of you. That means a lot.
Well, Stephen, we appreciate you coming on tonight. We just want to finish up with talking about the Lazy CK Ranch and how people can schedule a hunt through you guys, and who does people need to contact. Give out some phone numbers there, some emails, whatever you got to do. Throw that pitch.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find us at lazyckranch.com. The phone number to the office there is 830-640-3200. They're open. The front office there is open Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4. If you don't get anybody that answers, just leave a message on the answering machine. You can find all the pricing, lodging, all that stuff over at the website there. The Future Hunters Summit, you can learn about. It's like 2 pictures down on the homepage. It just says Learn to Hunt. So you can click that there and then find out more about it. The next camp that's coming up is in February. So if you want to get out there and shoot a whitetail doe for your first animal, you can. And then following in July will be the next couple of hunting summits there. And that'll be, I think, towards the end of July. And that'll be the Industry Week and the Women's Week. So, yeah, it'd be cool to get some people out there and get them, educated in how to hunt and become self-sufficient. It would be really sweet. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you very much. I'm honored that you'd have me here.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on and joining us, man.
Yeah, man.
It was a pleasure talking with you and learning a little bit about the CK Ranch.
Yeah, definitely. It was great. One thing that we didn't mention, I guess we could hit on real quick, is your Bow Hunting Arizona podcast that you have there. We were briefly talking about that a little bit. So you're going to start those episodes back up pretty soon, huh?
Yeah, I'm overdue. That kind of went hand in hand there when I started the social media. So I started Bow Hunting AZ on Instagram. It's just Bow Hunting AZ for as if Bow Hunting Arizona. And I decided to start a podcast too and just kind of help other people that were either my age or just younger even or whatever learn from my mistakes, because I was like, well, I'm going to goof this up along the way, so might as well help other people learn not to do what I do. So it was just kind of like a
definitely.
recap. I'd go out on a hunt and I would just have an episode. I ended up bringing a couple different co-hosts on. And now I do it mainly with my buddy Jake, who's my hunting buddy. And we'll just kind of recap everything and be like, here's what we experienced, here's what we learned. Don't do this. Here's what worked for us. And then sometimes we'll throw in now some gear reviews and stuff like that, and we'll talk about our bow setups or whatever. So it's been really fun. And yeah, I'm way overdue. I think my last one I did was in May. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. We've been really fortunate. Had some great guests on there. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, this has really been an awesome journey for us. We started this, basically the same way that you started yours, just to give people different kind of views and aspects from other hunters in the outdoors and their journey, things that they've learned along the ways, things that they've messed up on, things that they do right, tacks, tips and tactics and things like that. So it's really been an awesome journey, and we hope to continue. This is our 20th episode. So Stephen, we really appreciate you coming on. Be sure to check out the lazyckranch.com. Get a hunt scheduled with them if you just have never been in the outdoors and want to go shoot you any kind of animal that they have there on their ranch, or you want to learn some hunting tactics, tips, and survival things. They've got a lot of stuff going on there. So, Stephen, I think we'll probably have to have you back for a part 2. I mean, you're involved in so many different things. I mean, we didn't have very much time to talk to you about all those things, but it was definitely enjoyable, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm honored that you guys would have me here, and it's great to be episode 22, man. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see you guys growing. I hope to see it go to 120 real quick.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, we thank you, man. Well, that'll be it for tonight, guys. So be sure to check us out on our Facebook page, On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We also have a private page that you can join as well. We started that when we first started, just to kind of get some promotional things on for the page. You can check us out on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and Spotify. So you can, and there's about 15 other different outlets that we're on as well. So wherever you get your podcast, we're there. So give us a follow and a listen, and we'll be back on the 21st. So be sure to tune in. Stephen, we thank you and hope you have a great evening and the rest of your season, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, guys. God bless.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Top Down Construction, a local construction company located in Hurricane, West Virginia. A veteran-owned and operated construction company ready to tackle any project. With over 25 years of experience in the industry, they offer a wealth of knowledge from design to completion. Contact them today at 304-415-2203 and let them make your dream a reality. You can also check them out on their Facebook page or call them today at 304-415-2203.